My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
God, that game just sucked. Like honestly, that's the only way I could describe it. Losing a game like that in a shootout is it's my least favorite thing about hockey. Even though I love the shootout because when you win it, it's such a sweet, awesome feeling. But when you lose, it's just one of the worst feelings you get in, I feel like, the sport of hockey. The shootout's just such a salty way to lose, all coming down to a little bit of skill and a lot of luck. And it just sucks. And I don't even know what really else to say other than that. I could end the video right there. But nonetheless, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Game 12 out of 82 for the Winnipeg Jets in the 2021-2022 NHL season, where they fall by a score of 3-2 to the St. Louis Blues in a shootout. In their first game, the Winnipeg Jets wear their new alternate uniform, which is the Heritage Classic uniform, which looked great tonight. And this also will be the last video for a while at least, where I'll be talking over recorded footage. I came home today from my trip, a week in Winnipeg, and it was amazing. My time I had, like I've already said, I've been posting about it, the content I've been covering. I had a fantastic time, and it was everything that I wanted out of that trip, and I was so happy with it. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little upset that I couldn't go to this game, because when I saw that the Jets were wearing their heritage colors this week, I should have made my trip go just a little bit longer to catch one more game. But nonetheless, finally back home, long day of travel and everything like that, busy with some school, watching this game. I was enjoying it for almost all of it. I thought that the Jets played a pretty good game this entirety of this game they played against the St. Louis Blues. When you look at how they played from puck drop to the end, obviously you could be a little picky and stuff like that and talk about how, the offense at times couldn't get a lot generated. But then at times that looked like it wasn't the case. So I think what it really comes down to is Mark Scheifele kind of finding his groove still and balancing out his minutes and where exactly he's going to play. I don't like that line of Lowry with Scheifele and Wheeler. I just don't think it's smart anymore. Third line Wheeler makes sense. Playing him with Lowry makes sense, but Lowry as a winger is just not the right move, I feel like, for this team right now. And I feel like that's something that we're going to have to see change eventually going into the next couple of matchups in this last few games on this homestand. I think that Adam Lowry is a great player. You guys know how I feel about Lowry. I love him. Same with Scheifele and same with Wheeler. But right now, what the Jets need to do to utilize their roster properly is find the best home for all of these players, figuring out what line they have the best chemistry on, and then being able to really get some momentum under their feet and win some games and really start to show up what this team can be. Because now we're getting closer to that 15-game mark, 20-game mark, and the Jets need to start really finding their groove, finding that identity, seeing where they are, what lines are going to be the best. And honestly, the only consistent thing we've had this season, really, you could make a point of, would be the first pairing of Schmidt with Morrissey being killer, and the top line of PLD, Svechnikov, and Connor being absolutely fantastic, because tonight that line connected for more points. Svechnikov got a point. Kyle Connor was able to score the second goal for the Jets in the third period. It was a great game for that line again, and it just looks that way continuously for that line of Svech, PLD, and Connor. I'm really excited with the way they've been playing, and I cannot wait to see how they will continue to progress throughout the rest of this NHL season. And the other thing I have to give credit to, and you guys know how I feel about a good goaltending matchup, tonight was a really good example of it, because Bennington had a great game and so did Connor Hellebuck. Obviously, that first goal in Helly was not the best, but it was definitely a goal that I would say that wasn't as bad as some of the other ones we've seen go in this season, so I'm not going to rip him for it. He made some really big saves for us in that OT, in that third period, and just throughout the stretches at times, really keeping the Jets in it. And same for St. Louis with Bennington. I thought that the goaltending matchups tonight was very entertaining, a very entertaining matchup for sure. And like I said, it went to the 5th round, I believe, for the shootout, and then finally Ryan O'Round was able to put it in. So, good goaltending matchup all around the board, and you'd love to see it, because it just makes hockey so much more entertaining when you've got two brick walls back there making acrobatic saves and making great efforts and just being the best they can be, because a goalie on his game in the NHL is one of the most entertaining things to watch, I feel like. But nonetheless, I digress. What can the Jets do to kind of move forward from this win? What are the positives? I bet you guys are wondering. And honestly, the big positive that I can think of if you're the Winnipeg Jets is you played a pretty complete game of hockey. Yeah, there were still some elements to the game that you need to work on. Like I said, stretch passes have been an issue this entire season, and even though they were a little bit better tonight, I feel like every game they're progressing a little bit more and more to being more of a consistent quality of passing and offensive play within those defensive positions that we have back there. So I really think that that's a good start. The other thing that I really liked tonight was the forward lines I thought played really good tonight. A really good goaltending matchup they ran into. I feel like if we played a weaker opponent, we would have seen potentially another Chicago situation where they rack up a few 5 goals potentially. They really had the offense flying at times, and they had them. They look good against the Islanders as well. The only problem is they ran into a really well coached trap system that the Jets always have problems against, and it's not even just the Jets, right? The trap system has been causing teams issues and problems since the 90s. So it's not like the Jets are completely alone in that category with falling victim to the trap. But nonetheless, when you look at tonight's matchup against St. Louis, a team that is kind of similar to the Jets with the type of star power that they have in the players, but I digress nonetheless. I thought that it was a very good matchup tonight for both teams. I really liked what I saw out of the Jets. Obviously, you get a point against a Central Division rival, which is crucial. Obviously, if it was an out-of-division rival and you got a point in overtime or a loss or whatever it might be, that's a little bit better than being a division rival, as we all know. But nonetheless, I still think that tonight was good that they got a point. They didn't lose in regulation. They fought to the very end, and even into the very end, they played a very good goaltender that kind of really stopped the momentum and them from getting anywhere else. And I think that was the really big thing that came down tonight, was that Connor Hellebuck was very consistent. He was very good. Other than that first little weak goal, but other than that, he settled in very well, and Binnington was the same type of player. He made some really good saves, and when you look at the goals scored, there was really nothing that he could do. That Neil Pionk goal was absolute perfection. That spinorama at the blue line, a perfect fake. I think it took a deflection right there last minute as well. That was a beautiful goal, probably one of the best Neil Pionk goals I've seen since that wraparound against Edmonton, I believe, last season. But nonetheless, the other goal with Kyle Connor as well, puck came right up to him. He had time, and he roofed it bar down. Absolute beauty goal. You're not much you can do there when you're a goaltender and you're kind of being left out to dry and not in position against a shooter as deadly as Kyle Connor. Now, the other thing I really want to talk about is Logan Stanley. Now, I've talked about Logan Stanley a lot this season, and I want to make it very clear that I want to see this guy succeed. I think he's a really good defenseman who has a lot of potential, but is struggling right now. I think it's very clear that he's been struggling for, I would say, the last 7 games especially. With him on the penalty kill, how his matchups have been, and just his overall play. He just doesn't look like a very confident skater right now. So what I think Paul Maurice should do, and the coaching staff should do, is take a look at him, maybe do what you do with Christian Vesalainen and send him down for a 3-4 game stint with the Manitoba Moose, call up Ville Heinola, give him a shot, see how he plays, and if Ville plays really well, which he has been on the Moose, and that can transition to NHL quality play, that could be a huge get for this team right now. Ville Heinola is everything that this team needs for the future, in my opinion, when it comes to a mobile, puck-moving defenseman. And I would really like to see him get more of an opportunity when we have other younger guys struggling. I don't think that plugging out, for example, like let's say Nate Schmidt, right? If you're taking out Nate Schmidt to put in a younger player that is, very good, but Nate Schmidt is struggling, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you're sending a Moose player in Stanley down to get a couple stints in the AHL and then bringing up another prospect in Heinola, I think that makes a lot of sense. So why not do a prospect swap, play a couple games, see if it works, and if you really want to go back to Logan Stanley, you can. Because there's nothing wrong with giving the guy development. Even though I would much rather see Ville Heinola up with the Jets right now based off of the play they had to start the season with the Moose in the AHL. But nonetheless, I still think that the big thing moving forward from this game with Logan Stanley and whatnot is Paul Maurice probably should reevaluate how they're using him. If you're going to keep him in the lineup, maybe take him off that penalty kill. Maybe, find him a better suited spot or a different partner. Swap something up. I don't know. There's just something with Logan Stanley that he hasn't been very impressive, and he hasn't been very good in a lot of areas where you need him to be good, especially with that reach and with that body. He's not throwing the weight as much as you'd like to see, and also his shot is just still so inaccurate. So I would just like to see some changes brought to that blue line with, a younger guy coming in with Heinola, swap him out, see how they play. Worst case scenario, you bring in Logan Stanley again, you send Billy down to the Moose. You don't lose anything by that, and I think that it would be really beneficial for this team right now to see what they can get out of Ville Heinola compared to the mediocrity they're getting from Logan Stanley night in and night out. But overall, the big takeaway, I think, from this game was that the offense was there. The defense was there, and the goaltending was there. This was a really good, entertaining matchup for the Jets, who had a lot of good looks. And I think that there's a lot they can take away from this and have a overall, not such a negative attitude and outlook on this game, because they did everything right, in my opinion. Like, there was not a single play really that was like, oh, the Jets lost this game because of that. Even though you can't really say that. Obviously, if you want to really be picky and, blah, 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 and all that shootout, or whatever you want to say, I personally think that when you look at tonight's matchup, the Jets played a pretty good game of hockey, and they have to have their head held high. Sometimes it just happens in sport. You go to overtime, you can't get it through, and then the shootout, like I said, is 50-50. You never know what's going to happen. You can have the most skilled guys ever, but if the goalie knows the move, or they don't get it right, whatever the situation might be, you lose. And they were able to get a point. They played a good game of hockey. So overall, I think this is a pretty okay night to be a Jets fan. Nothing crazy happening, but nonetheless, at least we didn't lose in regulation and not get a point to a division rival. So with all that being said, let me know your thoughts on this game down in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe regardless of the team to root for. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and make sure to check out all the other affiliate links down in the description below. Have a great rest of your night. I know this is a bit of a later upload, but I will, like I said, be able to get back on that more of a consistent schedule with the OG camera and everything properly set up now that I'm back home. So I'll see you guys for the next one. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your night. Go Jets, go.